Okay, we've got Emma Loberg with us today. She is going to be talking about a charcoal poultice. Emma, thank you so much for coming on today, and we're excited to learn about charcoal poultices from you.
Yeah, g'day. Glad to be here and glad to be able to share a charcoal poultice. Um, Many years ago, when my mother, Barbara O'Neill, when I was little, she always made charcoal poultices by taking flaxseed and boiling it on the stove and making a gel, and then she'd add the charcoal to it, and then she'd put it in a cloth, and then we'd put it on, but it would always ooze out, and sometimes it was really, really messy. And then about 15 years ago, somebody shared this recipe with me, and that's all we use now. And it's absolutely fantastic. There's hardly any mess to it. And when you're done, you actually put it right on the skin. And when you're done, you can almost peel it off like a piece of fruit leather. And that is because of the psyllium husk powder.
Nice.
And it's absolutely fantastic. So what I'd love to do is make it right in front of you. And then while it's sitting there for a couple of minutes, then I'll tell some charcoal stories
That
of
sounds
how
awesome.
we've used it in our family.
Yeah, awesome.
So I have here some activated charcoal. So the recipe, we'll put in the captions later. This is my favorite way to mix it up. You could mix it up in a bowl and then put it between two sheets of saran wrap or glad wrap plastic, or even shopping bag, garbage bag, any bit of plastic, and then roll it out. I find that this method is the easiest for mess containment.
Okay.
So what you do is it's 3 parts charcoal. So I go in here and I'm gonna do tablespoons.
Okay.
And so we'll do 3 tablespoons of charcoal. Come on, get off the spoon. So what I do in this early spring is I mix this up, and then I keep it inside this bag, wrapped up, rolled up, inside a pint or half pint canning jar. And there it sits in my fridge, and it's in the airtight jar, and there it sits for whenever we need it, because there's always someone that gets bitten by a wasp or a hornet or a spider bite or a bug bite or a bumblebee, and that way it's in the fridge. I pull it out, cut it up, slap it on, and we're good.
Perfect.
So it's 3 tablespoons of charcoal, and it's 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk powder. So I love these measuring spoons that I got from Frontier, and they're flat and they're long.
I just got
they
some
fit
of those.
inside my
I love those too.
They fit inside my spice jar. Then you put your finger here, and then you carefully, when you pull it out of the jar, your finger naturally takes it off flat.
Perfect.
So then I put it in there. And what I'm going to do, always put the lid on so that it doesn't get bumped over and spilled. Then I'm going to zip it up. Then I'm just going to stir it up. So it's 3 parts charcoal, 1 part psyllium husk. And the original recipe says 5 to 7 parts water. So I've pre-measured the water here. I'm going to pour it in. And then I take as much air as I can out. And then I mix it up.
Okay.
Mix. And this is why in the Ziploc bag it's so fantastic, because you can just...
How many parts water was that again?
It's 5 to 7 parts water. So I'm just going to get the air out of this bag here. It's 3 parts charcoal.
Okay.
1 part psyllium husk.
Okay.
I find the recipe said 5 to 7 parts water. I find 7 is the best.
Okay, perfect.
So then once it's all mixed up, then I'm going to get my trusty rolling pin.
That is quite the rolling pin.
Oh, yeah, we do a lot of baking in this house. But then I'm just going to roll it out. I mean, you could use your hands to smush it out. You can use a jar to roll it out. There's just a bit of extra air in there. I'm just going to get out of there. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to roll that out. And the tablespoon puts that at about a little bit less than a 1/4 inch, but a 1/4 inch is about good, but that makes that up perfectly. So we're just going to let that sit there for a couple of minutes while we tell some charcoal stories.
Okay.
So we've got lots of charcoal stories. Probably the biggest charcoal story is when I was, I think I was 14 years old in Australia, and I got bitten by a funnel web spider. Now, a funnel web spider in a child is deadly, but in an adult, it'll make you very, very sick. And, it can kill you, an adult. Stinky bug, stingers, but a redback spider was bitten by a funnel web. Funnel webs are deadly. Anyway, so bottom line, it bit me on my arm, and I began to experience breathing troubles, breathing distress, and the room was swirling and feeling nauseated and headache. And anyway, of course, the ambulance was called, and I went to hospital, and the doctors didn't believe I'd been bitten because I was fine. I didn't get the antivenin, but the charcoal poultice had absorbed it out. And one of my girlfriend's mother's, her little brother, was bitten by a red belly black snake in Australia many times, and they would just put the charcoal poultice on it, would suck the poison out.
Wow.
2 summers ago, I had a friend come over here, and he'd had an allergic reaction to a bee, and his arm, he was a big bloke, probably 300 pounds, 6'6", big bloke, and his arm was swollen up about 3 inches bigger. It was like this massive big sausage, and his fingers were like big sausages. And he'd gone to the hospital, and they'd give him Benadryl and said he's got to wait till it goes down. And so he came over here, and I'm like, charcoal, mate. So we mixed up like about 15 of these, and we plastered his whole arm from up here, his whole arm in charcoal, and then we wrapped it in Glad wrap and then vet wrap. I love vet wrap.
I do
just
too.
vet wrap his whole arm. And he came back the next day. The pain was gone, the itching was gone, and the swelling was down by half. And
Wow.
within 3 days, the swelling was all gone. It was amazing.
That is amazing.
My kids get bit by bumblebees and hornets and wasps all the time because they're kids and we live in the country. There's at least 2 kids a summer that get bitten by bees. And charcoal is just fantastic because you just take it, put it on, takes the sting out, and if it starts to burn at all or itch, you need to take the poultice off. You need to listen to the body. Take the poultice off, put another one on.
Okay.
It's absolutely fantastic. So what do you do out in the bush or the wild if you've been bitten by a bee or a wasp and there is no charcoal handy? The next best thing is plantain, the little weed that grows everywhere. You take the plantain, take the leaf, put it in your mouth, chew it up to a pulp, spit it out, and then put it right on the wound. It'll take the sting right out.
Yes.
It's absolutely fantastic. So here, this is how you put the charcoal on. So you just get your scissors and you'll cut the bag, however big you want the poultice to be.
Okay.
Just cut it right up. I've cut it here. And then you'll want to cut one side of that off, like the plastic.
Yeah.
So these scissors are a bit how you going. They're a bit blunt. Come on. Not working. There you go. So you cut the plastic off, so now you've got the poultice and a bit of plastic. So then you take that and you just put it wherever you want it to be. And then we typically put a bandage on it, put a bit of Glad wrap or plastic shopping bag on it, and then a bandage. Vet wrap, you can even just take vet wrap and wrap it plain with vet wrap and leave it on there. And then when you're done, it just peels right off.
That is amazing.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
So yeah, no more mess.
So if the psyllium husk were in there, it'd be like oozing all over the place.
Oh, it's absolutely gross. It sticks like flour, water, glue. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, that's really handy.
Absolutely fantastic. Yes, it is really handy.
Very cool.
And so then if I was done with this, I would wrap this up like this, put it in my canning jar, seal the lid, pop it in the fridge.
Okay.
You don't want to leave this in the fridge like unsealed or in a plastic container because it will just absorb everything out of the fridge. But when a small, like a pint jar, airtight pint jar wrapped down tight, it'll be fine. And typically, this won't even last a month or 2 and it'll be used up, and then we make another one, and we usually make 2 or 3 throughout the summer and just keep them handy in the fridge. And also they feel really good on something that's stinging and hot because it's cold from the fridge.
Well, my husband is definitely allergic to bees, so that is fantastic to know. I will keep that on hand for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you're just so full of information, lady.
So if I was allergic to bees like that, I would keep this in your handbag, keep it in your truck, keep it in your car, keep it everywhere. And then I would also, like what Mum did to me when I got the funnel web spider on my arm, she put the poultice on and gave me a very large dose internally. So like a tablespoon of charcoal mixed up with water and down the hatch.
Well, I will definitely do that next time. So carrying it around in a car. So I would have that already like that, just in an airtight something. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
just in a like a half pint jar. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna
And
definitely
you could easily keep it there for 2 or 3 weeks.
okay.
Now we have found them if that they've sat in the fridge for like 6 months, they do go moldy. But
Okay.
you touch it with your hands and stuff like that. So that's why we usually mix them up about once a month at our house. So